Welcome, and thank you for joining us yet again on this edition of Ship to Shore. I'm Lulama Zono. Today, we have the privilege and pleasure of talking to Bongeka Memela. Bongeka holds a Bachelor of Science in Politics and Economics, and in addition, a postgraduate diploma in Maritime Studies from the University of Kwa-Zulu Natal in South Africa. Bongeka, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
No, it's really a pleasure to have you here. To begin this conversation, you can perhaps share with us briefly your background, primary and secondary schooling.
Okay, I was born in a small town, basically in Umzinto. Most people actually get to know about the place if I mention Potchefstroom, but it's just before Potchefstroom. I was born there, and then for my primary schooling, I first attended a local school, which was KwaDumisa Primary School. That's where I did my grade 1 and grade 2. And then I moved into Bremer Primary School, which I completed my primary schooling and then moved on to Roseville Secondary.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. That's great. You were a student after your primary and secondary schooling, then you moved on to the University of Kwa-Zulu Natal for your bachelor's degree, like I said earlier, in politics and economics. Give us an overview of this program, together with the reason why you chose that particular program.
Okay, actually the reason why I actually decided to pursue that degree was because I fell in love with economics in high school.
Sure.
So I was like, this is something I actually want to do, like to become an economist. So when I went to university, I actually had applied for PPE, which is philosophy, political science, and economics. But when I got there, unfortunately, the program had been stopped. So I actually had to structure my own degree. So yeah, I was very sure about economics. I knew that's what I wanted to do. Okay. But then I started doing more research, and then I saw that you actually have to understand the political side of things, because what happens in politics actually has a huge effect on what happens on the overall economy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Briefly, for someone who doesn't have an idea of how the program is structured, I mean, don't have to go into detail of it, but just okay. the main sort of coursework, modules that you actually have to cover during the program.
Okay, for the economic side, it's basically in UKZN it works with semesters. Okay. So like first semester you're probably going to do like a macroeconomics module, and then a microeconomic module. It's basically just analyzing what changes the economy, the factors that changes the economy, and how people respond to such changes and everything. And then we also do like analysis of data.
Sure.
Which is like quantitative economics. And then on the political side, it's basically foreign policies and everything else that basically like happens in politics, basically. Okay. Yeah.
I see. Now, in your LinkedIn profile, you say that you decided to use the economics background to specialize in maritime through the postgraduate diploma in maritime studies. Look, you decided to go this direction as opposed to the politics direction. Why maritime?
Politics has never been my thing. It's never been one of the things I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And when I was doing economics, it didn't really hit the spot, you know? So I was like, okay, maybe I need to specialize in something, not just be broad about it. I wanted to specialize in something. So then I started doing like research, what can I do with an economics degree? So I went to see my supervisor at school, and then she referred me to this other professor gentleman, and I spoke to him, and he's in the head of maritime school at UKZN. And luckily, he also had an economics background. He used to lecture economics. So he was like, he told me everything that I needed to know. And I was like, yeah, this looks like it could work. Yeah, I actually knew nothing about maritime when I joined maritime.
Oh, yeah.
But it was just fascinating for me.
Oh, wow. So you got to hear about maritime from this career advisor or program advisor at that point?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, move on a little bit now, out of school a little bit. You then got an opportunity as an intern with BPO, Bidfreight Port Operations. How did this opportunity come about, and what impressions did this experience give you about the shipping industry?
It's actually funny how I actually ended up at BPO. It was a random Friday. I was attending my postgrad diploma. We actually used to attend in the evenings on weekends. So I'm about to go to class, and I just got a call, and the lady told me, we have an interview tomorrow. Would you please be able to come? So I was like, okay, what company is this and everything? I actually didn't know about the company as well, because everything was so new to me at that time in maritime. So I just did my research quickly. I'm like, okay, looks like I'm going to learn a lot from the company. So then that's how I actually I started doing the internship. And it was such a great, like a stepping stone into the industry, basically, because what you actually learn at school, it's not quite the same as the practical work that you do. But it's very nice to actually do both at the same time. Because then when you're in class, you're just like, oh, that makes sense because I do that at work. And then when you're at work, you're just like, oh, I actually understand now why we're actually doing this. That kind of thing.
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
And so when I was doing the internship, I was in. So I learned the operation in a warehouse environment, and then I later on moved into being a foreman, in the vessel, just overlooking the discharge or loading of cargo.
Okay. You then moved to the Mediterranean shipping company, the second largest container company, container liner company in the world.
Yes.
What were your responsibilities there, and how did that experience grow you in your career?
Okay, from doing my internship, I was actually doing different stuff. So the position that I got at MSC was something else that opened like another door for me. Like, wow, there's actually so much more in maritime. So what I was doing at MSC, I was in maintenance and repairs.
Okay.
So we basically used to check job cards that at the people at the depots, one of our depots, what they do, the equipment they use, the material that they use, the hours that they actually spend doing the repairing of containers, upgrading them and stuff like that. Yeah.
No, I see. And then how did that experience enrich you as a career person?
I was actually exposed to a whole lot of stuff. Being at MSC, I met a lot of people. I think that's where I started liking I actually wanted to be in logistics, because I just saw the different departments. There was finance department, exports, imports, the claims department, which we used to work closely with, because then when containers are damaged, someone has to be liable, stuff like that. So, and I had a friend who worked there, so we kind of had conversations like what's going on and everything like that. Okay. So it actually opened my eyes to a whole lot of things, because maritime is very broad. It's very broad. There are so many things one could do.
Sure, sure.
Yes.
Bongeka, now you are with Evergreen Logistics, also a very prominent shipping company, as a logistics coordinator. Tell us about this work and how you fared so far.
It's been such a journey.
You've been there, what, 11 months, 9 months? How many months now?
It's been a year. It's been over a year.
Okay, sure.
Yes, over a year. When I started, actually what I learned from the maintenance and repair at MSC helped me understand, because I knew about reefers. I knew the damages, like, the common damages in a container. I knew, like, basically, like, I had an idea of what consists in a container. If it's damaged, what needs to be done. So when I went into the logistics department, it's basically the same thing that we do. We also have containers. They have to be repaired by the depots. We have to approve those repairs. We have to process invoices. We also sell containers.
Sure.
So yeah, there's just a lot. And then sometimes we lease some of the containers and stuff like that. So when I started, my main job spec was dealing with the leasing of containers, like off leasing,
sure.
Of hiring those containers. And then it was also approving repairs from the depots and placing the liable party. If one of our containers is damaged, and then I need to, like, place a claim, basically. So there was a lot of stuff that I was actually learning, and just learning basically to work independently, And yeah, now my job has kind of changed. It's still basically the same. I'm still in logistics, but it's more different now, because I also do, like, empty evacuations, because for every ship, there's space for full containers and the space for empty containers. So I facilitate the movement of empty containers that need to go to other countries.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays, you switch on the TV, you switch on the radio, you have a conversation with somebody. There's nothing else you talk about or hear about apart from COVID-19. It's really hijacked every aspect of our lives. Tell us, how has the pandemic affected shipping, affected your work, and affected you personally?
I think it has, for me personally, I've had to adjust a whole lot of things, because I've been working from home for quite a while now, and that's not something I'm used to, but I just had to adjust to being at home. Like home is work. It's all in one now. Everything is all in one. Your restaurant was at home, your salon was at home, everything. So you basically just had to accept the situation and try and work through it. And when it comes to the economy, things are still bad. Things are still very bad, and people are losing jobs, people are losing their loved ones, companies are not being able to stay afloat. Like for my company, like for other companies as well, like the productivity is not as high, because you can't have all the staff working. Some people are going to get sick, and it's a problem, it's a challenge, and we just have to try and just keep going. Basically. Yeah.
I mean, have you seen a slump in the container movements in and out of the country, truck availability, for instance, or depots being unable to operate? I mean, what have you seen from an operations point of view, shipping wise?
At the beginning of the lockdown, we had a really big problem because you remember we weren't allowed to, it was only the essential goods that were being shipped in and out. So we had a problem with empty containers. Like I told you before, that I deal with empty containers, shipping empty containers. So we couldn't move those containers. And it caused such a huge problem because depots were now over capacity. They couldn't take any more of our containers. Yeah, and we had like a whole lot of containers that were overdue in the depots. And even with that, like even when we started being able to move the containers out, the depots, the working hours had to change. So it's no longer, if the depot was working 24 hours, we couldn't work that anymore. So the hours were cut shorter, the staff would cut shorter. So it's still a challenge now, but it has gotten way better than how it was before.
Okay, no, that's great. Yeah. And then moving a little bit now outside of your work and the pandemic, just talking generally, container shipping generally. Ports like Tangier in Morocco, ports like Tema Port in Ghana, are making progress in shipping, handling infrastructure, and capacity expansion, right?
Yes.
What do you think this means for Durban Port specifically and South Africa in general?
Hey, firstly, I just want to say that in South Africa, we have very good ports. We have very good ports. But we do have our problems. I think for years, like I'm so new in the industry, but like when you're speaking to people that have been in the industry for long, it seems like it has been like an issue for a long time, the issue of not being as efficient as we could be.
Okay.
The issue of inefficiency, like not being able to deliver the service that is being promised, those kind of things. And that leads to more shipping lines and more vessels not wanting to come into the Durban port. Because I'm sure when you're driving to Umhlanga, you can see like how many ships are like docked outside. And time is money, you know, in maritime, time is money. So the more they stay out there, like it's money. Someone has to pay for that, basically. So it's becoming a cost coming into our port. So I think that's going to chase away a lot of ships, basically, and we're going to lose out. We're going to lose jobs. We're going to lose. Food is going to become more expensive because we're now going to have to depend on other ports, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, a lot of people who have actually observed the situation, at least some people, are saying that, look, yes, you may have the situation that other ports in the continent, that is, like I mentioned earlier, Tangier, whether it's Egypt, Alexandria Port, whether it is Namibia, you know, or like I said earlier, Ghana, Tema. If you compare those ports to like Durban Port or Cape Town Port, the infrastructure is not as good. Secondly, the issue is that the connectivity to the hinterland as well is another problem. You know, it's so easy to move from Durban Port into, for instance, Angola, into Swaziland, into the SADC region, for instance. I mean, those are pluses. Do you see any other pluses that makes Durban Port stand out in the continent?
I think it's like you said, it's our infrastructure. We have good infrastructure here, and we've basically been operating. We have all the equipment that we need. We have rail, even that transports containers into inland places. But we just really need to use them to keep company going, because you know, in maritime things change. like things change all the time. Like you might have the infrastructure, but if you're not utilizing it to its capacity, then if the companies feel like we might benefit more going to another country, they're not going to think, oh, they have good infrastructure, they've been operating for a long time, let's stick around. They're going to go where the job is going to get done, basically.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have to stay on our toes, basically.
Yeah, no, we have to. We have to.
Yeah, we have to. Yeah.
Will be superseded by other regions. Now,
yes.
From your observation, what 2 or 3 things have you observed as developments in the maritime industry? I know you've had a very short time being in this industry, but what things have you seen, and said, look, this is actually quite good, or these these kind of developments are actually, are to be appreciated?
Okay, firstly, I would say it's the fact that we're moving more into actually using technology.
Sure.
Like, I think in the olden days, everything had to be recorded, basically. And what's happening now is that everything is becoming more electronic, basically. So, which is a good thing, because it saves us time, and yeah. But the most important thing I would say is women being more involved in the maritime industry. I'm seeing that's like really creeping in and being like becoming a norm, basically. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I cannot see you right now. Now I can.
Now you can.
Okay.
Sorry, I had like a call coming in. So.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
As a Black young woman, how would you characterize your experience in the shipping space?
From the time of my internship, I would really say like I'm still at the door, basically.
Sure.
Like there's so much more I still want to learn. And I think each and every job I've had, it's just getting me a step closer to actually what I want to achieve in the future. So I still want to learn. Like there's still so much more to learn.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, to try and sort of clarify my question there, a lot of people may have said in the past, look, this industry is male dominated. Have you seen any chauvinistic tendencies? Have you seen a situation that as a woman, you feel ignored or not taken seriously? Or having been passed by because of what you would surmise as gender discrimination?
I'm just gonna use one example. I think in 2018, I attended this other interview, and it was for a ship's agency. And the question I was asked was, how would you deal with a situation where, like, if someone on board actually, like, shows interest on me or hits on me, something like that. Okay. And I was like, like, that question. So now I have to be responsible for someone else's actions, And I was asked, like, if you have to get up at 12 and go check on the vessel, are you going to be able to do that? Because I'm a female. So it's still those kind of things that it just puts women down in a way. Like, yeah, stuff like that. But I honestly feel like women can do it. Sure. And women are doing it, actually.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. The company I work for, we have a young lady who's a ship's agent, and she goes on board and she talks with the captain, she talks with the chief, and her gender or the fact that she's female never comes to question, because doing the job, if you do
I think it really shouldn't.
Yeah, it really should. You shouldn't.
It really shouldn't. Like,
Yes.
but it is what it is. I
Yeah.
guess women just have to keep working twice as hard.
Mm, mm,
Yeah.
Okay, now coming to the close of our conversation,
Yes.
tell us about your future plans. Where do you see yourself in, say, the forthcoming years?
Oh. Oh wow. I I'm gonna be very honest with you.
Okay.
Like last year I had like a time where I actually wanted to leave the industry.
Mm,
I just felt like, okay, what do I do now? Because sometimes we get into industries and we think, okay, because I went to school and stuff like that, I'm gonna end up doing a certain job, but it actually takes years for you to learn other sectors in order for you to get to where you actually want to be,
sure.
type of thing. Like I still want to, like, I still see myself in future being a maritime economist,
Mhm.
but like being realistically, I still have to know what the container looks like.
Mm.
you know
You
I
haven't
have
seen
to
a
know.
container.
Pardon?
You haven't seen a container.
No, I'm saying I would have to know. I do know now what it is, but can you imagine if just after university I started being a maritime economist? I have no idea what the port looks like. I have no idea how containers are stacked.
I see.
If I would have gaps in between. So now I'm getting a good foundation
Oh
to
yeah,
build on.
quite,
Yeah.
quite.
Yes.
Okay.
So I still see myself moving around the maritime industry, but I actually would love to get into strategy implementation, stuff like that, development, port management, and yeah, I would like to get into that to that field.
Okay. No, that's
Yeah.
good. Bongeka, thank you for
Yes.
availing yourself for this interview. It was really a pleasure to have spoken to you. Thank you for your time, and we wish you all the best with your plans, and may God bless you.
Thank you so much. I hope everything goes well on your side as well.
No, thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Keep safe.
Thank you so much. To our viewers, thank you for joining us here on Ship to Shore. For more content, please subscribe on our YouTube channel and like us on our Facebook page. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye.